Hi, welcome to my podcast channel. This is Krupali Rana, and this is the very first episode of my podcast, Navigating Life with Kru. So, before I can explain what the podcast is going to be about and everything, I would just like to introduce myself. I'm Krupali, and I'm an Indian. I studied there, grew up there. India is my home, but then 10 years back I moved to US for my higher studies, and ever since then I am living in US. So it's kind of like a mixed life, but that's all externally. Like inside, I am how do I describe myself? I'm a very curious person. I love this thing called as life. I amazingly fall into this pattern of, dissecting every single thing about my life, about even someone else's life, to find out what's a better way to deal with a situation. What's a better way to deal with your emotions? How can we better ourselves, and how can I like find a brighter angle to this situation? So I'm an incorrigible optimist. I love finding patterns and I love breaking patterns. And when I say patterns, it could be emotional patterns, it could be just relational patterns. And I love to apply all the theoretical, miraculous formulae out there in the world and apply them practically in life. And I am just that kind of an excited, merry-go-lucky, self-proclaimed ADHDer person. But yeah, I mean, I just have found out these words that kind of describe me. But I know that the more I try to learn myself, the more I find myself. Like, there is so much more to it, and that's what this journey is about. Creating this podcast was something that I had written in my vision board 2 years back. But I do know that this idea was born like way back when I was a kid. I remember after 12th grade, I was talking to my dad and I was like, why do I have to choose some title? You know, why do I have to choose whether I want to be a doctor or an engineer or an architect? Can I not just do things separately and be myself? And well, turns out that of course you have to be someone, but I also realized in the journey that you can be different things at different time. And this is just me being a podcaster right now, but it's just a title again, right? This is just me trying to learn about life, best ways, best practices, and share it with my friends. And I am just super happy to extend my table here to have more people and talk to them about what I'm learning, because I believe sharing is caring. And I would love to just get in touch with people and create this safe digital space where we can come back at the end of a very difficult day, or it could be a super amazing day, but come back and know that we are all kind of in the same boat. We are all trying to learn something new. We are all trying to find a different aspect to life. We are all trying to gain some perspective. And there are days when we are feeling like lost. There could be days when we are much more livelier. But like times when it's difficult to even feel that there will be a day after this night. And there are times when the sunny days never end. So I think that that perspective, that while it's night here in US, there's a day, there's the sun shining brightly out on the eastern hemisphere. Or is it not eastern hemisphere? Sorry, on the east side of the globe. Um, and just knowing that helps, right? So this is that space. This is space where I can make mistakes and you can call me out. And then someone else can make a mistake, which I gotta know, and I can help them identify that. I just have a lot to talk, and maybe this talk will kind of make sense. So, in the upcoming few episodes, what you might find out is you'll find me talking. You'll find me talking about life. You will find me talking about emotions, about mental health, about how everything makes sense afterwards, how staying positive can help us, or just me learning through you, through other stories. And it's an open space right now. Honestly, it's a blank canvas. I have not strategized or planned anything about this podcast. I have not thought about any particular direction that this podcast will take. It's kind of, Schrodinger's cat, and it should take the shape whatever it likes. But I can promise you one thing, and that is whenever you come here, you will go back inspired, or you will go back smiling, or you will go back having a perspective in life which might not play its role in the very moment, but maybe some other time. So, it's like you come here and always go back having something back. I don't know if that made sense for you, but I hope that in the next few upcoming days, in the next few upcoming episodes, we start finding sense in everything which does not make sense today. Life is kind of messy, and together I feel that we can create a painting. And I waited and waited so long to become a perfect person. I waited and tried to make myself into this flawless person, this amazing person who has like achieved everything in life and tackled every problem and experienced everything before I could start this. But I realized that that's never going to happen. There is nothing called as perfect. And I'd like to share a story and end this episode with a story that I read and which I remember even after 15 years of reading it. So there was this monk, and he was on a journey with two or three of his disciples, and they kind of take a short rest in the middle of a journey in some village. And the monk told the disciples, okay, let's make some round rotis. Now, how do I describe rotis? Rotis are bread, uh, but circular like tortillas. So, because this monk was traveling in India, he asked his disciples to make rotis. And then the monk just gave that instruction. The disciples started to make the rotis out of the dough. The first one made a roti which shaped very weird. There was another tortilla which came out in a not so circular shape, and they kind of discarded it. They kept on making tortilla after tortilla, sometimes triangle, sometimes an abstract shape, sometimes no shape at all. And they were super disappointed because they were not able to make one perfect circular tortilla. And then they were just at the end of the 2 hours or whatever time that they used, they went back to the monk and they said, sorry, we are just not able to make a tortilla. And the monk is like, what? I saw you guys making something for last 2 hours, and how is it that you couldn't do that? And then they explained that they were trying to make it circular or in a perfect shape, but it just didn't turn out that way. And the monk was like, see, that's what we need to learn here. The definition of tortilla was to be circular was created by you. The definition of a perfect tortilla, which has to be a circle, was created by you. All I said was, let's make roti. Let's have dinner. Let's have our early dinner and sleep early. But you guys created the definition of perfect. So it's all in our mind. Apparently, there is nothing called as perfect. There is never going to be a perfect. It's a myth. It's an abstract thought that we will keep chasing, and it's never going to be achieved. But what happens is we will keep delaying, procrastinating whatever was the deliverable, whatever we wanted to create. The purpose was just to create a tortilla and eat. Just like my purpose was to share whatever I had to share and not create a perfect episode, not create a perfect visually, grammatically, language way, or is there any other aspect? But you get it, right? I'm not trying to achieve perfection here because we're not perfect. We're not supposed to be perfect, and beauty lies in the messiness. So let's just stop there. And I wish you a beautiful day, not a perfect day. And what I can say is find your own definition of perfect. But perfect. I think I had a perfect ending to this episode. Thank you for listening to me. And if you think that there was any relatability in what I said, any authenticity in what I said, if you feel that you will come here and if even a minute of watching it is going to bring you some smile, then like, subscribe, and I'm still new to this. What is it? Like, subscribe, and share. Yes, like, subscribe, and share. And I'm going to see you next Sunday. Thank you so much. By the way, I'm so excited that I finally got to use that. I have only always seen other people using it, but finally, I'm doing it. Bye.